Hello and welcome. Today's lesson is going to be about the system of equations by graphing using the decimal star calculator. In order to do that, let's first open the decimal star calculator and remember to go to the tools and unclick the minor grid lines and make sure the step is 1 and 1. Remember, tools, unclick minor grid lines, change steps to 1 and 1. And you should see a graph that looks like this. Now we're ready to start the lesson. A system of equations means that we're going to deal with two or more equations. Now for the purpose of this class, we're going to use only two equations. But eventually when you get to Algebra 2, you're going to see systems with three equations. Okay, so solve the system of equations below by graphing. In order to do that, we need to have the letter y alone on each equation. So on the first equation, we see the y alone, so we put a box because it's ready. But the second equation, the y is not alone, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the y gets to be alone. So in order to do that, we're going to move the 4x to the other side. So that means the 4x is going to go to the other side, becomes negative 4x. The negative 6y, we're going to bring it down. And the 18, we're going to bring it down as well. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 6. And on this side, the y gets to be alone because the negative cancels with the negative, the 6 cancels with the 6, and the y is alone. Now we're going to divide negative 4 divided by negative 6. So let's go ahead and use the calculator. Let's go ahead and click on the keyboard, and we do negative 4 divided by negative 6. Press enter. We get a decimal, so we click on this circle right here, and that changes the answer to a reduced fraction. I'm going to use that to put into our equation here. So 2/3 x, and then 18 divided by negative 6 is negative 3. With that, we get the y alone, so we can put a box around it. And now we have the two equations with the y alone. That means that now we can proceed to the calculator. And let's go ahead and clear this. And let's enter the first equation, which is y equals x minus 5. And we see that the line was drawn. Now we're going to press enter. I'm going to enter the other equation, y equals 2 divided by 3. Put the arrow to the right, x minus 3. And there we go. We unclick the keyboard, and now we can see the two lines, okay? And we see the two lines cross right here at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma 1. If you click on the equation, you see that the line will be highlighted, okay? And if you have one of the lines clicked, you can move the mouse over here, and the calculator will show you exactly what that point is, which confirms what we found, which is 6, 1. And that right there is what we're looking for. We're looking where the two lines cross, and they cross at 6, 1. So that means our answer is 6, comma 1. Very well. Let's go on to example number 2. Remember, we need to have the y alone. So we're going to move this equation here to the side so we can have space underneath. And we're going to do some modifications so the y will be alone. To do that, we're going to move the 3x to the other side. So that means negative y comes down. The 3x go over as negative 3x. And the negative 2 comes down as negative 2. Now the y is still not alone because we have an invisible -1 right here. So we're going to divide both sides by -1, and that will give us -3 divided by -1, that's +3. And -2 divided by -1 is +2. So the y is alone, we put a box around, and now we'll look at the other equation. We need to get the y alone, so we're gonna make sure to make the necessary movements. So here the 36 needs to move, so 12y brings it down. 36 comes over as +36. 36, and bring down the 24. Now we divide both sides by 12, and this we're going to get y alone. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 24 divided by 12 is 2. We put a box around, and there we go. We have two equations with the y alone. So we're going to go over here, and please notice this. If I click right here, I can turn off the line. If I click it again, I turn it on. Same thing with the purple one. Turn it on, turn off, okay? Now, for this next problem, I'm just gonna erase the previous problems, and I'm gonna write the first equation, which is y equals, click the keyboard here, and click equals, and it's 3x plus 2. Center, when I enter the other equation, y equals 3x plus 2. So if you notice, I drew both lines, and remember, if you click here, you can see the first line, which is red, and the second line, which is black. And then if you notice, both lines are the same line. It's one on top of the other. So do the two lines cross? Yes, they do. They cross at many points. They cross over here, over here, over here, at many points. And if you think about it, this line goes to the infinite. So in other words, this line goes forever. And so there's an infinite number of solutions because there's many, 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 many points where the line touches or crosses. So for that reason, over here for the answer, we're going to write IMS. Okay, the I stands for infinitely, the M stands for many, and the S stands for solutions. So an infinite number of solutions. So infinitely many solutions. Okay? All right, let's go on to the next problem, which is example number 3. And again, first order business is to make sure both equations have the y alone. In this particular problem, none of them have the y alone, so I have to make sure to get the y alone. So I'm going to copy this equation, and I'm going to move the 2x to the other side. So remember here's the border. So that means 4y is going to come down. The 2x is going to go over as 2x, and the 12 is going to come down as positive 12. Now we're going to divide both sides by 4, and we get y alone. And then you need to be careful, okay? Because 2 divided by 4, a lot of people think it's 2, but it's not, because you're dividing 2 divided by 4 is 0.5, and if you click here, it's 1 over 2. So this here will be 1 over 2x. 12 divided by 4 is positive 3. Now the y is alone. We put a box around, and we go to the other equation, and we do the same thing. We get the y alone. In this case, we're going to move the 5x to the other side, so that means this would be negative 10y equals The 5x comes as negative 5x, and the 30 comes down as positive 30. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 10, and then y gets alone on this side. And then let's do negative 5 divided by, over here we have negative 5 divided by negative 10. And we get 0.5, we change to a fraction, and we get 1/2. So come over here, and we're going to write 1/2 x, and then 30 divided by negative 10 is negative 3. So we got the y alone, and now we're ready to go to the calculator. So let's go over there, and let's go ahead and delete the other work that we did before. Let's enter the first equation, which is y equals 1 over 2 arrow x plus 3. And then the other equation is y equals 1 over 2 arrow x minus 3. And as we can see here, the two lines do not cross. The two lines is what we call parallel lines. So these lines will never cross. So in that case, we're not going to have a solution. So we're going to write NS, which stands for no solutions, because the lines do not cross. Okay. All right. So right now we have seen that in system of equations, there's three things that could happen. The two lines cross at a particular point where you're going to have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Or the two lines would be parallel, so that means there's no solution. There's no place where they touch each other or cross. And the last thing could be is that they are IMS, which is infinitely many solutions. In other words, one line is on top of the other, meaning that they touch everywhere. They touch every single point. Okay, so there's an infinitely many number of solutions. All right, let's look at a last example. If you notice the first equation, the y is alone. In the second equation, there's no y, just only an x equals a number. This will be a special case. Remember, there's some lines that do not have y, and that's the case right here. So let's go to the calculator. Let's go ahead and get rid of the previous problems, and let's enter the new equation, which is y equals negative 3. Enter, and we're going to enter x equals positive 2. And as we can see, we have two lines that touch each other. And if I want to see the point, make sure you click one of these two lines. And now you can see the point, which is at 2, negative 3. So let's go over there. And we can write 2, negative 3. And that's our answer there. On your assignment, you're going to write the answer on the computer, but you're going to show your work on a separate piece of paper. So make sure that when you do your assignment, put your name on the first line, the period on the second line, and the title of the assignment, which is assignment 1.1. Draw a line, and then write the number 1 inside a circle. Copy the problem. If there's work to be shown, please write on the paper, and then the final answer will go on the computer. If it's a simple problem like this one, just copy the problem and write the answer. Okay? One good thing to do here is once you're done with one problem, write the final answer on the paper and also on the computer, and then skip a line and go on to the next problem, and so forth. So that way it will be organized and well presentable. Okay? If you are coming to class physically, then you can turn in the paper physically. But if you are taking the class virtual, then make sure to upload the picture in the assignment were instructed. Okay? So this concludes this lesson for system of equations by graphing. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this video was helpful. Have a great day. Bye-bye.